Here we are starting out 2020 with batch number 50 of the Eco Cha Tea Club. And this month's batch is the final day of harvest from our Alishan High Mountain Oolong tea source. It was his last crop of winter tea that he just couldn't resist. He and his wife, I should say, they couldn't resist harvesting, even though it was incredibly minimal in its yield. It produced less than 50 kilos of dried leaf. And we were there for that day and saw the fresh leaf being undergoing solar withering, and noted the half maturity or less than mature size of the leaves. And it really resembled what is known as dongpian, which is basically the bumper harvest of a winter yield that usually happens, if it's officially dongpian, it happens after winter solstice, so after the 22nd of December. But the winter growing season, the way things happened here in central Taiwan this year, almost everybody was done with their harvest by the first week of November because things just weren't growing any further. It was very dry for the second half, at least, of the growing season, and things needed to be picked before they started to get kind of leathery and less than supple and fresh in order to process them properly. So this batch of tea, small yield, less than mature leaves, is similar in character to dongpian, a late winter harvest, because in fact it was the latest harvest of winter, and we're pretty sure that nothing was harvested recently because there hasn't been enough rain for the plants to continue to produce leaves. And they do go dormant, especially at higher elevations. This is about 1,200 meters. Dongpian is typically found at mid or lower elevations. Very rarely it's above 1,200 meters. So, and after we got to taste a sample of it, it also reminded us of the flavor profile of dongpian, which classically is has a very distinct aromatic character and profile to it. It's a delicate leaf, less body, less substance in the actual tea soup, so to speak, but full in flavor nevertheless, especially in the nose. It really just fills your head quite a bit and lingers for a while. Given that it was very minimal, we didn't think we would be able to get any of it, and sure enough, there was enough to procure for our tea club. So here we are. Batch number 50 of the Eco Cha Tea Club, January 20, Alishan High Mountain Oolong tea, picked at the very end of the harvest season. I just put close to 11 grams of leaves in a 175 milliliter gaiwan pot here. So coming close to the 1:15 ratio that we normally recommend for oolongs, and particularly high mountain oolongs that are minimally oxidized and unroasted. We'll pour that off so I can get the second brew all on its own. I can smell it from here. It's to tell you the truth, I had it this morning again just to try to get my head around what flavor is there. You know how it is. You can call up things, but to really pinpoint it is really difficult. What kept coming to me was fresh forest flavor. Of course, there's no flavor of forest, not that I've tried it anyway, but there's something about the aromatic profile that makes you feel like you're standing in the middle of a forest. There's kind of moist, fresh air and full of life. It has a savory, it's a kind of nice savory sweet balance, and even a buttery finish. I let it cool. I poured off each brew and filled the mug and let it cool down to room temperature and tried it like that, and it definitely had substance. More of the body came out when it was cooled down. Things are volatile when the tea is still hot. and you get more of the aromatic profile, less of the body, compared to when the tea is cool. It's reminiscent of what I personally remember winter tea being characteristic of over 20 years ago. It's commonly agreed upon that winter tea, as it used to be in its distinct character, is difficult to find in recent years, and we can only attribute that to the seasonal weather patterns. It just is not as cold as it used to be during the growing season. And we don't get that hardy kind of, it's hardy, but it's just, it's not as floral, it's more herbal, more savory, a different set of notes there. It's really balanced. I would say savory, fresh herbs mostly. I can't quite pinpoint what. Not very sharp or intense, mild, with a hint of sweetness at the end. And I suppose the nose that I'm getting now could fall into a floral category, but there's something a little more musky about it. There's some muscatel or something kind of more, a little bit not so perfumey, but very full in its aromatic sense. The tea itself is a light golden. It has a viscosity to it. There's definitely a nice reflection coming off it, a bright, transparent hue. It's a more delicate brew, and that's why we feel like it's close to Dongpian, and we're inspired to procure it for our tea club. It's a soft, balanced, complex aromatic profile that includes herbal notes, savory herbs, some sweetness. We'll let you put the descriptive adjectives on it. We think you're going to like it. Here we are, batch 50, Alishan High Mountain Oolong tea, the last day of harvest, very minimal batch to share with you, with the idea of sharing a tea that is akin to what is known as Dongpian, a late winter bumper harvest of High Mountain Oolong teas. Thanks for being with us. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, share this video with friends who might appreciate it, and sign up for our newsletter if you haven't either. And most of all, please leave your comments about this batch and all of the batches of tea that we share with you at in the comments section of our blog posts, because we want to know what you think and what your experience is, and it gives other people the chance to know what you experience from our tea club teas. Thanks again. We'll see you next month.